Hello, podcast community. You're on KBA Matters. You were going to be on the mindset because our guest has the right mindset to really understand. And I want you to get to know Eryk. So, Eryk, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Yeah, so my name is Eryk Watson. I work with Consolidated Planning. We specialize with the investments and the insurance, work with business owners, families, and individuals. So it just depends on what those needs may be, but we help navigate through the ins and outs of finances.
Well, we met kind of sort of through the KBA because it was at Chuck's NFL draft, and we were talking, and I noticed that when I looked down, I saw some pretty big hardware. So let me just, so our viewers know, I want you to see this. Okay. So here we go. I was looking at these and I went, holy mackerel, I love that. So what I wanted y'all to know, the viewers, is these are earned assets. You don't just go to Walmart and buy them. You earn them. So you played high school athletics, and then you went on to the college ranks, and you made it to the professional ranks and traveled in Brazil and Romania. I want you to share with our viewers, like, what was your mindset? Like, how do you get from high school? Because plenty of people play high school basketball. They never make it past high school basketball. How did you make it to a level of the professional ranks? What can you share with our viewers?
Yeah. One, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and kind of share my story and give me the platform to do so. But I would say for me, it started at even younger age. That I was elementary school, thankful for somebody came in at career day, and he played professional sports. And I wish I could remember who that was to thank him because of how it turned out. But I'll never forget, he brought this basketball in and was like, hey, this basketball has the power to take you all over the world and give you all kinds of experiences. And that stuck with me. And so I was like, I'm sold. And come to find out, like it has. It was a travel world. A lot of my best relationships have come through basketball. But I would say that's where the seed was planted. And so kind of going back to, how it happened from high school, college, and whatnot, man, I had a village, very strong support system. And so I knew where it was I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to play pro sports. I did not necessarily have the roadmap to get there. So I just was like, okay, I know it's going to take a lot of work. So just kind of being determined and being confident in myself that, like, hey, I know if I put in this work, I can get there. And I want to get over here and go play professional. So I would say those were like the foundational pillars that I would have that I had in order to try and get to that next level.
Well, I love that. What do you think that, because I know some athletes that I went to high school with, they dove and they went on to have successful careers. What did the discipline and the hard work, how has that helped you, like, in that journey? I mean, because I'm sure there's plenty of days you would have liked to have hung out with the guys, but you were on the basketball court shooting hoops till the long hours. How does that help you now that you've been through it? You've obviously gone to a highest level, that's the professional ranks. What has it helped you now in your work that you're doing?
It has helped me in the sense of like knowing that if you are willing to put in the work and you just stay consistent with it, you will be rewarded for it. So I remember my college coach used to always say, you get out of it what you put into it. So it may not come tomorrow, it may not come the next day because it's a process. But so how does it translate now? That mindset of like being in the gym, I never like waking up early, but the 5 a.m. workouts in the gym all the time, just sticking to the process, staying to the process. You're sore, you're hurt. I feel like sleeping in, but pushing through that anyway. You translate that into the business world where it's like, hey, I may not be where it is just yet, or look, I'm striving for this goal and it doesn't happen tomorrow or the next day, but just knowing that if you put in that work and you just keep it going, it's going to happen for you. You just have to stay the course, and life is going to test you. It's going to see how bad you want it. Those hard times are going to come, but that mindset of being able to accomplish something big has helped.
I love that. We're in a instant gratification kind of environment, I'll say. How do you, if you're talking to youth, and I think our previous podcast, I was saying we're watching 4 hours of TV, we're on social media 2 hours a day. How do you talk to people that are young that may be engaging in those activities? What would you say to them about your mindset about discipline and hard work? How do you get, it's a lot easier to go out and have a good time than to be working at 5 a.m. in the gym. So what would you say to them? And maybe from the standpoint, you're now on the other side of hard work, how can you encourage our younger people to kind of fine tune those skills?
And so you're asking, like, how would I?
Yeah, mindset of discipline and hard work. How do you get through that instant gratification? Like, there's nothing pretty about hard work, but to talk to our youth about that, why should somebody work their butt off and keep plugging forward? Because now you're in a career and you're reaping the rewards of it. How can you encourage our youth?
Yeah, so when I'm talking with the youth, I'm telling them, like, there is no recipe for just overnight success. And it's a matter of connecting with them and understand, like, all right, so who are those people that you're looking up to? Because if that's the case, they weren't an overnight success. So you peel back the layers of it, the overnight success, they'll say it took 10, 15, 20 years to become that overnight success. Mm-hmm. And so getting them to understand, like, hey, what is it about you that's going to make you different? For instance, I deal a lot with you trying to get to the college ranks and whatnot. So in preparation for that, I'm like, hey, we have to get you ready to be able to talk to a college coach. So if a coach were to say to you, hey, I've only got one scholarship left, why should I give it to you versus the other one? Like, you both have the same GPA, could bring similar stats, and say, well, mm-hmm. What's going to separate you? And so when you start peeling back those layers, it's going to be, hey, is it my discipline? Hey, it's my work ethic. Like, I refuse to be outworked. I'm mm-hmm. going to make this team better in however shape or fashion that's going to be. So trying to get them to navigate and understand that discipline it takes, like, there is no shortcut recipe. You have to be the hardest worker in the room. And for me, I had a cousin who was in a different state along my journey. And mm-hmm. so even when it's like what my eyes can see, I'm like, okay, all right, at least I'm working harder than the group here. I'm having a better day than from what my eyes can see. But that's where you have to play those mind games. It's like, okay, well, am I working harder than my cousin that's in a different state? Or am I working harder than the best player on the other team? So you've got to do that, because while you relaxing, I promise you there's somebody coming for that same position that you want.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And my immediate reaction when I met you and we were talking is discipline and hard work. It was like, you do not make it to a professional ranks without those words just ingrained in you. When you got out and you left the professional ranks and now you're in the business career, what confidence did you have knowing that path you've been on? Like, you're sitting across the table with your first hire. Take me back to that moment when they're asking you that same question. Hey, we got 5 people here we're going to hire. Why should we hire you, Eryk? I don't know if they asked that, but let's just say they did. What would you tell them?
Yeah, so I remember sitting in that seat, actually. And so, I'm telling them I'm an adaptable, hardworking young man that refuses to be outworked, because my sports journey, you have to be adaptable. Mm-hmm. Year in and year out, you're having different teammates, different players or whatever. So you have to be able to adapt. So mm-hmm. being fortunate enough to meet people from all kinds of different backgrounds, different thought processes or whatnot, you have to be able to adapt. Sports, things change on the fly. And so hardworking, when you're able to defy odds, go from I went to a small college, Division III, and make that jump to that professional level mm-hmm. of it. There has to be this, like, again, I'm going to outwork everybody, and this confidence that you have to have. So that's what I would say. But at the same point in time, it was at the same point in time, not that simple and not that easy, because for athletes, there's always this transition when you're getting ready to transition into the business world. It's like, okay, well, I just accomplished this big thing. Well, what's next? What's the next mountain that we're going to climb? So there is, as confident as we are, there is doubt that creeps into us as well. So it's not just all sunshine. There's a transitional phase where it's like, well, damn, like this corporate world is different to me. So you have confidence, like I'm confident in my ability, but I don't know. But I know I know I'm not going to be at work. I know I'm adaptable, but so it's an interesting transition. So there is confidence in an aspect, but there is those doubts that do kind of creep into you. So I would say I'd say it's like a little roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm not in the shoes of somebody that would like sit across the table to hire you, but I will say this: I know when a person has confidence. Because you talk with your heart. And I think sometimes we talk with our head in believing this is what they want you to say. Like, I'm a hard worker, I'm a disciplined person, but you're talking because you want to convey something that 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 certainly those words matter. There's no doubt. But when you're telling me, like, hey, look, I'm going to outwork you. And I know, I just heard you say that. I'm ready to hire you because that's coming from here. And it only comes from here because you've done the work. You've been adaptable. You've done it to get to that high level. And I think for our viewers, because I can tell when a person's speaking from here and a person's just speaking from here. There's a difference. You got to connect the heart with the head. And when you do connect the heart with the head, it's like you can't be stopped, because I can imagine that person that hired you, the first hire, he's probably going high-fiving to his boss. Hey, we found one. It's like, this guy's going to crush it because you're speaking from your heart. Because if I ask you that question, like, why should I hire you? And you say, well, because my GPA was 3.2 or whatever it is. You're just saying stats. I'll go, oh, okay, it's good. Everybody has a high GPA. I mean, everybody can. But when you're saying I'm going to outwork the person, and you say, look, I've adapted. I learned through my journey from a little boy at 5 years old, or whatever the age is, when somebody shared the vision of seeing the world with the basketball. You said, I want that. There was probably people in that room, they said, I want that too, but they didn't go through the hard work. They didn't do the discipline to get there, but you did. So how did that happen? Like, was it your mom? Was it a mentor? How did you say, I'm going to do it, and you went out and did it? Like, what influenced you?
Oh man, good question. It's a village. I mean, definitely my faith, because I remember. So yeah, it starts with parents. They put you in the church early and kind of plant the seed, and so you have a mom, single mom, chipped in, like different mentors, different coaches kind of chip in. But it got to a point where you start getting closer, where it is time to go to college, or it is that time where you're getting ready to go overseas. And I remember I was like, okay, there's there's a lot of talented athletes that are continuing to come out of here. So it's like, I remember just stopping, pausing, and thinking for a second, like, what's going to make me different? There's a lot of talented people who have probably been more talented than me that still didn't get it where it is I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. So what's the only thing that can help me get there? And so I was like, I went deeper into my faith then. And so like things clicked, and it's like, okay, I don't have this blueprint that says if you make X amount of shots and you dribble the ball this amount of times, you're going to get there. There wasn't. I had to go and create it. So it was just like, okay, what can I do? And so I linked up with one of my friends, and we just were like, we're just going to work. And so I built up this routine. I still remember my routine. Like, this LA Fitness is down the street. I used to be there. and as many shots as I could get up. Like, so just kind of my measurables. I used to try and make 100 threes before missing under 40. And eventually it got to a point to where I was like missing under 25. And so that was like the warm up. And so it was doing that all the time. But yeah, it was like having an understanding and a respect that, again, there's people who were bigger than me, faster than me, probably more talented, and they didn't make it. So it's like I can just try my best to outwork them, confident in what it is that I'm going to do. And again, just faith. So, so
I want to dig deeper. So I want to ask you if you'll come back, because I want to have you on the Mindset podcast. I want to have you back on, I think there's a number of ones that I'm thinking as my brain is like going, oh yeah. There's a gentleman I met at an event, and he's pouring into youth. I call him Father Seymour, but he is giving back and making a difference in giving kids a vision. And I think you said it in an early podcast, and you've repeated this. You have to know where you're going, and you have to match that vision with discipline, putting the right people around you, because you are who the 5 people you hang around the most. So if you're hanging around people that aren't going anywhere, you're probably going to follow. But if you're hanging around people that are going somewhere, you're going to go somewhere too. So I want you to come back, and we'll work some things out, because we're up against the deadline on my technology podcast that's coming up in a few minutes. So Eryk, I want you to tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me. Cell phone number right there, 404-788-3679. Give me a call, or if I don't answer, it's possible I could be in the meeting, so shoot me a text. But I'd be more than happy to connect. So yeah, definitely would love to come back and continue talking with you. So
awesome. We are going to have you back, because we're going to have some fun time, because let me just put it up here. We're going to go into the winner's creed.
So I wrote that you asked me about mindset. So like one of these days I'm just kind of thinking, and I put my mindset on paper.
There we go. And that's, we're going to make this available some form or fashion, and we'll be better prepared the next time Eryk comes back, and we'll flash it up for our listeners to take home, because you want somebody that has been through the fire, the hard work of getting to the top. And there's no shortcuts in life. You got to work hard, and you got to be disciplined. And Eryk's I'm going to say like a poster child. No, I don't know if that's a word, but whatever, you know what I mean, is an example. That's better. Example of what, if you work your butt off and you have vision and you have discipline, where it can take you in life, because it's a wonderful journey, but it ain't easy getting there. Because you said it on an early podcast, it's ups and downs, and you got to be adaptable, because you're going to get thrown curveballs, a little baseball term.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Eryk. We appreciate you being with us, and we're going to have you back. And so our viewers, share this video with somebody you think Eryk can help, or if you want to get a hold of him, you know how to get a hold of him, because this guy's going to crush it in his career, and you want to associate with people that are making a difference out there. So thanks, Eryk. We appreciate you being on our podcast in our studio. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. What was the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our podcast here?
Oh man. Yeah. So one thing I want you to know, taking with you, is, again, know where it is you want to go, and be confident in it, and be your own best cheerleader, because there is going to be a lot of negativity and people not really understanding your vision or your goal. But the reason being is because it's not theirs. So it was given to you for a reason. So know where you want to go, what it looks like, and be confident.
I love that. I love it. Thank you, Eryk. We appreciate you being on our show.
Of course.